What's up, guys? Jack Thunder here, CEO of ThunderTech. I'm going to give you all an update on the ThunderTech current operations, what I've been building, things like that. So, first things first, finished the robot. I finished the Mechanimen robots. This is my first real, we're going to say official ThunderTech robot. Turns on, everything works. It has health, hunger, and happiness, age, stats. It has a buzzer in there, so it can kind of talk. You can control it with Bluetooth. It has Bluetooth low energy. It has an Arduino in there with Wi-Fi. You know, the RGB eyes, has servos for there. It blinks a little bit. That's a feature, by the way. It's not like I, am bad at wiring. The motors canoe has a PCB in there. This is a prototype, but this is the finished PCB that I just got ordered. I soldered this yesterday or the day before, and this is the full robot. So, gonna give you a little tour or a little showcase of this. So we got some SG90 servos, some blue ones. I got these ones. These are for the next robot, which I'm building right here. This is a Arduino, or this is the Mechanimen, but just I made it blue, and it has an Arduino Uno Q, which has a little better features, has a lot more RAM, some other features like that. And that's going to be like my next Mechanimen Mark 1, because this is the Mark 1. I'm working on Mark 2 right now. It's going to be made with a, not this exact one, but the same size. It is a Arduino Giga. It's a little bigger. I'm going to put some other things such as camera in the eyes, maybe a little bit bigger servos, bigger battery pack. It's going to probably be like this tall. This is maybe a foot tall, just about, more or less. So, but you can talk to it. There's a interface. You can connect it to your phone or your computer. I have a web dashboard that I made, and it looks pretty good. And health, hunger, happiness. It has achievements. It's like a Tamagotchi, where you can it lives. It has age stats. You have to feed it. You have to do some stuff. I have some other ideas as well. I want it so that they can interact with each other, and then there's it can kind of just live on its own, where it can there's little Bluetooth things that it walks to, and it's oh, this is food, or this is a ball. I can go play with it, and it just kind of lives on its own. It recharges by itself. All that stuff. That's one of my ideas, but I have some other ideas. But then you got the PCA 9685 servo driver in there, Arduino Uno R4 Wi-Fi in there. The wiring is very janky because I had to use the default Arduino DuPont wires. They work pretty well. And then this is the battery pack right here. This is for this version, but it is 6 rechargeable lithium-ion batteries. I don't really use alkaline batteries because you don't want it to, it's gonna mess up, or they try to explain it. It can deliver a lot of current essentially, and it's the main thing people use for robotics. I think there's NIMH. I think that's the ones I use, maybe, or something like that. But no, I think I use NIMH. I think that's the ones I use for these, or lithium ion. I don't exactly remember, but I just use rechargeable batteries. This is 6 AA's in there. I can take this out. I'm gonna change this so you can just pop this out real quick. But a little battery pack. I modified it so it has a little bit thicker wires. It has some DuPont female connectors on it, so you can connect it to the little pins on the inside right here, which are also, this is the circuit board, by the way, that's in here. Well, this is gonna go, on top of here, and that little red thing is where this is gonna go for my next one. But this is just the prototype board. You can see it's a perf board. I soldered it all together. I don't think I have any pictures. That is a buck converter right there. That converts the 8 point something whatever voltage. Do what is it? 1.3 times 6. So then that's the output voltage, and then that buck converter goes into the Arduino. The Arduino takes 5 volts voltage in, completely wireless, as you can see. Pretty cool. And then I'm going to show the inside of the head. Alright, so one of the kind of design choices I made was I didn't make the screws very, we're going to say, I don't know how to describe it, but basically the screws are surrounded by 3 sides, not 4, so you can kind of just push it out with this. Now, am I going to change it? Maybe, but it just saves space. And it still stays on. But this is the head. This is the skull cap, I call it. This is the skull. That's what it's called in Fusion 360, at least. I'm going to turn this off so it doesn't drain power. But this is essentially the inside of this. So we got a SD card holder. I don't exactly remember the name of that. Then we got a transistor PN222A, something like that. I think that's what it was called. It's just an amplifier, little transistor. And then this is the buzzer. So, it buzzes. Then it connects to the RGB eyes. Little bit sketchy design there. I would probably add some better insulation so these don't have a chance of touching. But there's not really any like force that are going that these would be bent. So it's haven't shortened or it has not shorted yet. So it looks fine. But very janky wiring, as you can see. This is literally just the prototype. So, but this is essentially what the production models are going to look like. Maybe I'll do. I'm planning on making a PCB for this as well. But, transistor, and then you put a little resistor in the middle, how all that stuff works. Then the SD card holds the kind of like memory. It holds like the stats, because when you turn it off and turn it back on, and like the age stats, the health, hunger, happiness, the names. And eventually what I would do is, since it's 64 gigabytes of storage, and it's a SD card, so you can do more than that. You could do like somewhat of a memory system, chat system, stuff like that. For the more advanced AI stuff, which I plan to do with this, I would just have it like interface with the computer. That's my idea. So it would do that, All right. Let's. I think I've basically covered this. It got RGB connects to there, and then it runs through the back channel right here. This is kind of the neck. I kind of call this the spinal cord. If you want to upload new stuff onto this, you use a USB-C cable. My first version, that I never really used, was I used the old. It was like USB-A. It was like the ones that are for these things. So that is the USB-A kind of cable. Well, that kind of covers it for the head aspect. All the core cables go through here. They go through. They go on this. This is the negative, and then I'll discuss the stuff for this. So this goes through all there. This is the circuit TB6612. All that stuff, it wires through there. ThunderTech Mechanimen membrane. Ordered these straight from China. JLC PCB, really great brand. I haven't cleaned this up yet. I still need to get the solder or the resin off this, but this is just the first one I made. I got 9 others. Got it for like $50, all of those. So pretty good. Has those. Connects to the buck converter and the power, and then this just goes through there. Everything works. This is, I tested this. This is what goes into this right here. I also added a capacitor, which is not on here because it's supposed to help with the spikes. Now, I don't have it in there, and it's never been much of an issue. So it's more of like a precaution thing, and it's like it can work without it. So it can work without that main capacitor. I'm not too worried about that, but that is essentially the head. And now let's move on to the features. All right, so you have your Mechanimen robot right here, and power it on. Things are working, and then it's going to show up in your Bluetooth as Mechanimen. Boom, pair, and this is the Mechanimen web dashboard. So it is connected right there, connected to Mechanimen. So this is the battery. Battery is 6.9 voltage, 28%. It's awake. Its age is 46 days. I don't remember if that's how long it's been active. There is some bugs. This is still a prototype, but you can manual commands, detect it, some other things like that. It's currently happy. You can play with it. So make some noises, and then first aid, gives it some things, and it's kind of like a game. Now there is some things I should fix with this, but I just fed it, so he just got some food. His age, revive. If he's alive, now he's fully happy. I believe that's what that means. And then train. So, he did something there. I don't know what that is about. So, and then run queue. You can check queues. You can make them dance. I'm working on that right now. There's the button creator, so you can do like, things like that. Voice command. I'm going to go do that. So, voice. Play. I don't remember the commands. Say happy. Say sad. Say angry. Say confused. Say no. Home. Is that home to the servos? Say love. I was trying to make it do like the, but it's not that good. It sounds like a laser, but I mean that's kind of it's like robotic, so it's kind of cool. WAS and D. I think this works right now. So, yep. I think some of the motors are messed up, but that's a hardware issue. So you press forward, you press back. Yeah, I think some of these motors are not turned on. Probably. Yeah, I think these back two. I think I did. There's some hardware issues right there. That's purely hardware, but essentially it works. So you can change the color of the eyes. Of course, it's overwritten by the emotion stats and stuff like that. So there's some demos and stuff like that, battery calibration, sensors, some things like that, and there's like ChatGPT integration stuff I want to do, and I'm going to do it with this robot. But essentially, there's some profiles and stuff like that. There's more things I am going to add. There's output, so you can see the data, get some logs and things like that. This is essentially the full robot currently. There is some things I am going to have to fix, and some ideas that I do have for the next version. Mechanimen 2.0 or Mechanimen Mark II is going to be pretty sick. I'm not sure if I really want to show the full thing or what I'm doing in CAD right now, but essentially that's what I've been working on. Now, I haven't really been making any videos because I've just not really wanted to. I don't know. I just kind of stopped doing it. I just kind of, locked in on building it instead of making videos. But I do think I am going to document the progress more. But, God, this is my Arduino that I just bought. Arduino Uno Q has Linux, stuff like that, 4 gigabytes. It's like the $60 version, so pretty expensive. But 3D printed this. I also just got a new printer. Let me flex real quick. Oop, face reveal. Nope. Centauri Carbon 2. My room's kind of dirty. This is the original. I printed the whole robot on this thing and a little bit of this, but everything that was printed with PLA Plus, because I just like it because it's a little stronger than the normal PLA I had, which was very flimsy. Now there is like a front plate you're supposed to put here. I just didn't particularly because I kind of like to see it, and also it was kind of like, I don't know, I just never really did. But you would obviously put like a front panel right here. Maybe you would cover this. Now it's not supposed to be waterproof, obviously. So I'm not really worried about it's more like an inside robot. Maybe I'll do like an outside. I have a ton of robot ideas, but I got some ideas right there, some things like that. This is the circuit basically. So pretty cool. And then tonight or whenever, honestly, I'm gonna work on building this. Or putting this into there and trying to finish that robot too. I don't know. I think the name of this guy was Primus because he's like the first guy. I'm thinking like Optimus Prime, something like that. First guy. I was trying to think like a cool Latin name, something cool, right? I'm thinking of calling this guy Blueberry because I really like this blue color, but unfortunately I can't find this anywhere because this filament I bought when I first started 3D printing in like 3 years ago, and I think Elegoo stopped selling it, or whoever stopped selling it. I got this blue, but it doesn't look the same. It's a lot lighter, but it still looks pretty good. But I printed this with that, and this is the head, this is the forearms, this is the shoulder, this is the battery pack. Got some other things right there. I'm not going to print all of it out of blue because I want it to be kind of blue and white, but essentially that's what it's going to be. It's going to have MG996, so it has 360 degrees. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a little stronger because of the metal gears. It's going to be pretty solid too. But it's gonna be, I don't know. These are like 12 for like $20. But this is the second guy, and then I got some PCBs and stuff like that. But it's gonna be 360 degrees. Might be a little stronger. But then my next version, I'm thinking I'm not sure if I want to do Mark II with what's it called? These servos right here. This is my project Cerberus, by the way. I don't think I made a video on this, but it's essentially my security camera project. I'll do a little showcase of this. But basically a little security camera, X and Y axis with a little monitor, webcam in there next to Raspberry Pi. You can, web server on your phone. Pretty cool. But basically these servos are MG996. Did I say MG996 for these? I think these are MG90s. Yeah, MG90S. That's what they're called. MG996. These are the ones. These are a lot bigger than these servos, and so they're also a lot stronger. I have a robot arm somewhere. Let me go. I also got a resin printer, by the way. Let me flex. Got a lot of new stuff. Got a new soldering iron. Very nice. Very good. These are way better. Ooh, what the hell? These are way better than the like the ones you have like dials on the thing. Get a unit if you can. All right, this is the robot. Okay. This guy built this forever ago. But basically, big robot dude. I got a lot of MG996s from there. So, but yeah, that's basically it for the Mechanimen for now. And going to work on finishing Mr. Blueberry. I don't know of a cool name, but this guy is Primus. First ever robot I really built. Well, first ever like full robot with all these features I've really built. But pretty cool. It doesn't look that great. It's a little quirky. It's supposed to be, you know, more functional than anything. And of course, I'm going to improve it. And there's no elbows either. But that's just purely because there's a power limit, really. I can't, like, put more. But I think my next one I want to do arms or elbows. And then I'll do hands eventually because that would be pretty cool. But this is like, he's like a little bird, you know? But, you know, bada bing right there. But, yeah, I'm going to go see if I can do some stuff. All right, so home's the servos, sleep, so he falls asleep. So the motors aren't moving and just the power. So this one, wake, means that the servos are armed, or not armed, they're, the arms are armed. The arms are awake and the legs and the head. Then you sleep. Sleep is mainly just saving power. It's not disconnecting the robot. But you, of course, if you want to save all the power, you just, you know, from there to there. I drew that on, by the way. But you just do that, and then disconnects the robot. You reconnect it. Sometimes does that. He wakes up. But yeah, it wakes up, and then you gotta connect him. It's disconnected. This is just a web dashboard. And yeah, you know, connected to there. Bluetooth Low Energy. You can also do this on your phone, but I mainly made this web dashboard for my PC. But I am going to make a phone version. But the whole thing is, once I make Mark II, or I'm thinking Mark III will be like the really good model where it's like MG996s, you can grab stuff with it, has all the features of the Mark II and Mark I where you can talk to it. It's going to have like a MP3 player, or like, you know, you can speak to it can speak back to you. It's kind of like a little person, you know, basically, or like a robot guy that you can talk to. And then it interfaces with a local AI model. I don't know if I could do a local as in like on the hardware, but I mean, you know, you get a computer, get a decent computer, it interfaces with that. That's the basic idea I have for Mark III. Let me not give all my ideas out, but basically that's the plans. That's some plans and ideas. So if you want to follow along with this whole journey, subscribe, post notifications. I'll make a long form video about it eventually, but my next project after Mechanimen is finishing Project Cerberus. So I'm gonna just tell you all about Project Cerberus, and then I'm gonna wrap this video up. Basically, Project Cerberus security camera. It was supposed to be like a 3D print monitoring thing, but all my 3D printers have cameras on them now, so I don't need that. But basically, idea: sentry turret. Put some flywheels on there, Nerf darts. Bada bing, you know, it can track stuff. It's a security camera, you know, non-lethal deterrent system. I don't really need it. But it would be kind of cool to build. So, you know, thankfully I don't need it. Yeesh. But, you know, maybe you could shoot down drones with it or something. I don't know. But basically, you know, with the servos, it tracks it. And I'd probably use stepper motors instead of servos just because it might be faster. Maybe. I don't know. But, I mean, I'm going to finish this version. You know, you put a little flywheel on there, make the thing a little bigger, and then it shoots Nerf darts with a flywheel system. And then it'll do that. That's the idea for my next robot after I finish Mechanimen. So... But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm not going to keep yapping, but I'm also going to finish this Tamagotchi project and make that as a product. So if you want that, you know, let me know. Any ideas anyone has in the comments, any cool, you know, suggestions they have for Mechanimen, finishing the robot guy would be pretty cool. Yeah. Gotta wake this guy up. Oh, I think he's unhappy. Okay, so look, you can see all the stats here. I'm going to go feed this guy. There we go. He's, full? It should say he's full. It says 68. Play. So he's a little happier. You can clean him. That doesn't do anything. First aid. Puts his health to 75. Put the battery a little lower. Anyways, that's basically the Mechanimen robot. I'll see y'all in the next one.